Good evening, Pandora sisters, and welcome to another episode of Dora Designs. And today we will be designing a bracelet with the beautiful, or should I say scary, Darth Vader Charm from Star Wars Pandora collection. And to be honest, the Darth Vader Charm wasn't actually on my original list of the charms that I wanted from the collection, but I decided to get him partly because of the gift set which was available in Hong Kong, so I wanted to buy a few more pieces so that I could qualify for that. But also, the more I saw of this charm, the more it quite grabbed me, the design. So I decided, yep, I need to have this one. So this design is going to be a little darker than my normal designs, to show, of course, the dark side of the Force, and also because it is a very dark charm, so I wanted a suitable background. So with that in mind, decided to use the Oxidized Bracelet. If you don't have the Oxidized Bracelet, I do suggest you get one because they're really quite different, and especially with open work charms you can create some interesting designs. It will show the dark background through. And you can get a two-tone version, but this one has a silver clasp, but there is a two-tone version as well. So that's going to be my background for the charm. And I don't really want to have it right in the middle, but what I'm planning is a 3-section, and the middle section is going to be the real dark time of Darth Vader's life, or Anakin's life, when he is on the dark side. And I'm thinking of telling the story of his transition from the light side to the dark side. So I'm going to do that with coloured Muranos. So over here I have some nice blue Muranos, and you can see the Stardust Muranos are almost black. They're very, very dark blue. So I'm going to use 2 of those, and then as an interim, these Wavy Ocean Murano charms, which have a slightly darker background, but then the light flecks flickering throughout. And this Ice Drops Murano is really pretty, and is a very, very pale translucent blue. So I think those ones first of all. And then additionally the Cinderella signature colour Murano. So for the centre part, which I said I want something very dark, I don't actually have a lot of dark charms. I do have a few that also fit nicely into the star theme. So this one is the Celestial Stars Mosaic, and although these are mother of pearl settings, the background is actually a black enamel, so it's very dark, and the two work well together. The enamel on Darth Vader and the enamel on the Celestial Mosaic. And in between, I'm going to place the Stellar Star pendant, which makes for a striking design, and also it kind of resembles the front viewport of Darth Vader's TIE fighter. So that's going to be the main 3 center charms. And then next I'm going to use the dark Stardust charms, and I think those 5 pieces together, they do have a really dark look about them, even though blue is included there. With the oxidization and the enamel, that does look very dark side of the Force. And for the clips, I'm actually going to use something that my husband has always thought looks like the Death Star. You might not think so, it's actually the Lazy Daisy clip. It has its daisy pattern on it, but in his eyes it looks like the Death Star, so it's going to be on this design. Okay, and apparently it's very important that there's 2 Death Stars. One at the beginning when he's Darth Vader, and then later for the light side when he redeems himself. So it's quite important in the storytelling. And then as part of the transition period on either side, and to create a bit of symmetry, I'm going to use my new Stellar Star openworks which match the pendant. So let's find them here. So pleased that I was able to get these brand new from Greece. So these work well as a transition one because of being an open work, they have a little bit more lightness to them. And if you haven't seen Star Wars, well, if you haven't seen Star Wars, first, where have you been? And second, spoiler alert, because I'm probably now going to ruin it all for you. The beginning of the film, or the beginning of the series, Darth Vader is he's Anakin. But that's a spoiler, okay? If you haven't seen the film, pretend you didn't hear that. So he starts off as a goodie. So he's going to be, in the beginning, starting off with a light blue Murano, showing his innocence, his naivety, and really that is part of what happens to him and why he's drawn to the dark side. So he starts off good, and he's actually very good Jedi, very powerful Jedi. And to symbolize that, I'm going to use this star charm. Again, it's a 2-tone charm, and that shows the promise of him, a star pupil. There was a lot of hope in him when he was a young Jedi and he was the chosen one in the prophecy. But then because of his love of Queen Padmé, things started to go a little bit wrong. So to symbolize that aspect in the story, I'm going to use this dangle, which has 2 sections. You can see it's the beginning of things going wrong because it's split in 2, and the inscription about how you melt my heart, it didn't really melt his heart so much as darken his heart, because his love of her and the thought that only joining the dark side would be able to keep her alive is what drew him into the dark side. And then with the funny bone charms, I'm going to use them to create symmetry, and then also, as I have one with black diamonds and one with clear diamonds, it will show the darkening of his heart, and then later on in his redemption how the good will shine through. So let's place those on. And then balancing with the Heart of Winter charm, I'm going to use the club charm from 2006. 17, which has a diamond locked inside. So it's a pendant charm, but it opens. So this is kind of symbolizing how the love that Darth Vader had for his children, it was always within him, and once he opened it, that drew him back into the light side, and it caused a redemption for things he had done. And finally, another spoiler if you haven't seen Star Wars, Darth Vader is Luke's father, and Luke is Leia's sister. Shock. So on this charm we have two diamonds next to each other, and they're going to represent Luke and Leia, the twins, who the love for them is what made Darth Vader return and redeem himself. And finally, the sparkling Cinderella coloured charm to balance out the design. So this design is going to be called Balance to the Force, and it's all about the prophecy, the chosen one. So let's put it on the bracelet. So there we have our finished design with the Darth Vader charm. The story of how he started as Anakin, his love for Queen Padmé brought him to the dark side because he wanted to save her, but then the love of his children ultimately made that he redeemed himself when he killed or destroyed the Emperor and brought balance back to the Force. So I hope you like my design, and come back again for more designs with Dora, and next one will be especially fun because it's going to be Baby Yoda, or as his real name is, the child. So thank you for joining me. Have a good evening, and send me some love and like and subscribe. Bye bye.